Bum, 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 bum. And we're live. Here we are. It is Monday. It's the Kent Beck Scrum. We have Federico, we have Sam, we have Will. Let's start with Will. I know you're in a library. Do you want to speak quietly? I'll turn your audio up, or just give us updates via text.
Now I can speak quietly. I have made a little demo of Y over the weekend, and it's not complete, but I just thought I'll publish it as it is, so that anybody who wants to can have a look at it. And in the meantime, I'm going to go back to working on the tests.
Cool.
So it's very basic, and I think you have to know what's going on already, but everything is there, essentially. I've tried to make it a complete demo of all of its capabilities.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah, I have it in front of me, and I was, yes, about to check it out. Ooh. Ah. Ah. Ooh. Mm.
So obviously it's...
Did I pay somebody? I am.
Can you tell what's going on? Yes, great.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, fantastic. MVP. Wonderful, wonderful. We've just been talking about MVPs. Have you seen the diagram of MVPs?
No. Oh, cool.
Just topically linking to the session we were in. That's I'll just share that with you. Hold on. Cool, but great work. Are you blocked with anything at all?
I always just want you. I know you made the comment before that you'd like to ask any questions. You had some questions about it that might be helpful for me to try and answer.
Yes, and we could do that at the end of the session today. Yes.
Sure.
So we'll put a pin in that, and we'll come back to that. Great, fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Federico, how are things going with you? You're muted at the moment, Federico.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
And no audio trouble?
Nope, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, great. Yeah, been having a lot of audio trouble. Great. Yeah, so we just got done with the face-to-face premium session with Sam. I had a lot of the Phoenix One people in there. Posted the recording in the channel. Got a lot done. Discussed user stories. Migrated them over to what's it called? Pivotal Tracker, I think. Yeah. And so we got them right here. Other than that, so that went really well, and we got async votes in the channel. Other than that, oh yeah, the podcast. We got the podcast out finally after a century of waiting. The second episode is finally out, and it's over on Stitcher, and we're gonna work on getting it on iTunes here shortly, hopefully. Yeah. So that I got that done over the weekend, and also did this. I wanted to ask you, Sam, like I saw in your blog draft, what were you gonna get rid of here that...
Oh, before I realized that you had added the animation, I was thinking, in my MVP hat on, is that I would put in an image. I've got like a screenshot of somebody just, being greeted in a hangout, and I thought that was a good intermediate thing. Now that you've got the full video, it's sort of redundant, and I was then thinking about changing it over, because I don't know, if you scroll up, like, I just worry that block of not there, in between the projects, like that block of text there is just a little bit impenetrable. I might be wrong. I just feel like that's probably, based on the feedback that we had from before, I wonder if that is kind of at the limit of the amount of text that anybody will actually read. Anyway,
yeah.
So, but I was about to remove it and replace things, and then I noticed that actually your video is kind of end to end. So it's like, imagine that you started on this page, and it actually, the video relies upon, to an extent, the entire rest of the page looking the way it currently does. So I held off making changes other than just adding some new projects into you know, oh, and by the way, Will, I added Y into the list of projects there and are getting started, so that might funnel a few more people to the Y channel.
Cool.
Yeah, because people, when they sign up, they go directly to this page, right?
They do. When they if they sign up, they are then this is the first page that they see.
Okay. Yeah. So the main motivation was because I created the Phoenix One channel.
Sure.
And so I came in here to change that up, and then while I was in there, I got rid of that. I apologize. That yellow alternate color, I don't like it. I'm not sure this is much better, but
yeah, I find this one particularly difficult to read on my screen. For the previous color for me was fine, I guess, but we should get maybe Lara or somebody to look and design a better thing for us. I think we did actually have that as a kind of a to-do thing that got lost in the mix. But yeah, I think it's great that we've got the animation, and we should now that you've made the change, we should leave it like that for a bit. We'll see how that affects the flow through rate, and you know, we can iterate on that based on feedback we get from people.
And so just to finish up there, if you do want to make some modifications, I'll just make another video. It's not a big deal.
Okay, cool. Well, we can talk about that maybe in the marketing meeting or something this week. I think Will was gonna go ahead. Will,
would you like me to read that block of text and see if I can come up with something simpler?
Absolutely. What I would say is, I mean, the getting started, that's like page 1, and it used to be a much longer page, and we've broken it into like 7 steps. I made a few more changes this morning. Yeah, any input that you have on the getting started page, the flow, yeah, the block of text, we are all ears. Yes. Yeah, my thought had just been that particularly in this block of text, what we've got is the instruction to go and, you know, we're trying to get people to like say hello to the project managers in each of the individual channels, and the text there where it says, like, you know, it looks like more instruction. It's not clear that it's you know, separate. Then Federico uses like actually copies and pastes from it in the video. But anyway, yeah, sorry, I'm babbling on. I was so beautifully brief in the previous session. Now I'm a babbler. But yes, Will, short answer. We'd love your input.
Okay, and I'll feed that back to you, Federico, shall I?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, all of it. We'll put it in the marketing channel, and we've got several of us who are interested in these things. So
okay,
cool beans. Great.
Cool, thank you.
Anything blocking you at all, Federico?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll just say thanks for. I was on the cusp of. I'm not going to get to that animation thing, so thank you so much for doing that. That's great. We do with those throughout. So that brings us to me, and since the last Scrum, I have almost finished the monthly report for Adventures. I must do that next. It must finish today. Also, I have done the automated beta sales meeting where we worked out that Ruby version 2.4 creates all sorts of problems for one of our assignments, which is not so good. But yeah, we had a good meeting discussing how RVM works. We just had the Federico Premium Face-to-Face, which we used, which invited lots of people in the Premium Face-to-Face session. And yeah, but Federico summarized that, but that was great to have lots of people in there as well. I've got a meeting at the top of the hour now with teaching assistants from UC Berkeley, where we're going to try and get them onboarded to the Autograder. And there's just lots of stuff I want to get done. But yeah, one step at a time. I'm not explicitly blocked by anything. It's just sort of a time thing. Oh, I am planning to take next week off. So my availability will go down next week and I'll work on the house and then I'll come back refreshed. So yeah, that's our Scrum. And so unless anybody can remember anything else, we could go back to the thing we put a pin in, which was questions about why. And although they do say that the answer is 42, I am excited by Will's demo here. Yes, and it's very exciting to see the demo. I guess the question that I was kind of having in my mind about it was, let's see if I can kind of put this back together, led on from something you had at the end of the README, where you were, it was about next steps. I think that was one, I would love to see kind of a few more steps out. Oh, have you maybe removed? Oh no! Oh, yeah, actually, no. Your plan has expanded here, so fantastic. You've got it. So you're writing the tests. Are the tests in a branch or a pull request somewhere?
No, they're still on my machine because they're in flux. Even the way that the file is structured is in flux. Because I'm doing mutation testing as well, so I'm having to come up with a way to do that.
Right.
Because there isn't one in Solidity at the moment. Right.
What I would say there is that I can see that you have the intuition there that you maybe shouldn't share until you've kind of locked it down. I would suggest, just for your consideration, just sharing everything as early as possible as being a kind of the issue there is that if you got it up, then other people can comment and give input on it in its current form. What I often struggle with many of our projects is, and this is a different thing because you're obviously like it's your thing and it's coming up from there. But so, for example, we have like local support and there are tickets and people work on them, and often people who they'll kind of be working on stuff and they'll kind of be like, kind of don't want to share it until they've got it right. And I spend a lot of my time saying, don't worry about that. It's really valuable for other people, even if it's just for them to be learning the kinds of things that you're experimenting with. Pop it into a work in progress pull request. And so, we have people doing, we've got one here, work in progress pull requests. And I very much encourage, this is Stella on this one, just for her to throw up whatever it is that she's got. And that means that it's kind of, we have sort of an openness that allows anybody who's interested in the project or aspect of it to start browse what's going on at this time. And there isn't any commitment, like just having the fact that you've opened the pull request, that you've got the branch up there, there's no commitment to that being the way that the code goes. Everybody understands that this is just sort of my work in progress. For me here, it would just be interesting. Like if you pushed up a branch with the tests in and opened the pull request, it would just be like interesting for me to see the set of possible changes that you were thinking about making, even if you completely change your mind tomorrow and you then close that pull request and open a new one and so on and so forth. But if that makes any sense.
Yeah, okay, I can see the advantage. I mean, I'd have no problem with people seeing what I'm working on. I guess for me, I'm not very familiar with the process of making a branch and then making a pull request on it. I've never done that kind of workflow before, but I guess I can. So I'm happy with pushing, as you can see. I can push things.
Well, maybe if you've got a moment, I mean, we won't do it right this second, but we could like just do that together. I was just going to then read the next section here, which has got develop the interface, which you've done one of, and then make this easy to install and use for a website that already accepts Ether as well, like Decipher. And I was going to just like, I sort of wanted to look at Decipher with you and sort of see. So like in Decipher here, this would allow me to buy access to a video, or how does this, tell me about Decipher. I've never seen it before. How does it work?
Yeah, that's right. You pay Ether and then all of those are unlocked.
I see. Okay, so what we've got here with Decipher is I've got some free videos that I can look at, and then like if I wanted to watch this locked video, it's not clicking at the moment. Here they've got, I guess, like a two-step. I would first have to verify my Ethereum wallet, and then this would, presumably if I clicked this, it would then be replaced with a pay on Ethereum, and then these things would become unlocked.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. No, that makes sense. And then so what that would mean is that the thing that you would want to distribute for people like these guys Decipher would be, hey, add this contract into the site, into some place, and then it will just, would that mean that, say that I was then a user of this site, say that you've got the thing to them, they said, yeah, we love it, and they put it in there. Would that mean that when I clicked on pay, I would see something like this thing offering me the alternatives of where I'd like a donation to go to?
Right. No. So what in the demo here, what I've tried to show, which isn't clear, that these 3 possible donees. So this is the fire service website, the health service website, and the animal welfare website. So in your own time, like as you live, you would find these websites, and you might want to donate to each of them. So when you go to pay for something, you've got a list of things that you've already decided that you want to donate to, and it would just pick one of those things at random for you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But also having said that, if you haven't got anything, then the seller could give you suggestions on things that you might want to add to your list of things that get donated to.
So what that makes it sound like to me is that one might have one's why page with one's why settings, where you could kind of go and look at how much have I donated, who have I donated to. You can add new donees that you wanted to be set up, and I mean, in principle, the point at which you pay, you wouldn't necessarily. There's not a lot of interface going on there. It's just the payment happens, and then you might get an email notification from your Y system saying, "Oh, by the way, on that last payment." But yeah, so there's kind of, it's more like there's a kind of a control panel that you can go to see and make sure it's all set up the way you want, and then the payment process itself is just sort of like bang bang.
Yes, it's as quick and easy as it is at the moment, where you just pay because it's something is selected for you randomly.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, excellent. Yes, so I'm definitely interested in then the way in so the code that you've got here that is the Y is just this one y.sol file, right?
Yeah.
And so without necessarily going into too much detail, because I'll probably lose me. If we've defined this contract, is deploying it somehow kind of giving this contract to Decipher, and they kind of hook their existing Ethereum to that contract, or what's the deal there?
Right. So how I've decided to do it at the moment is every seller deploys their own contract.
Okay.
And by deploying contracts, that means putting it onto the Ethereum blockchain. And that's just a decision I've made from a I guess a security point of view, rather than there being one Y contract where every seller uses it as a central hub. Each seller is going to deploy their own.
So they would then be using this contract as a boilerplate. They would be inserting some information about themselves into it, and then they would be putting it into the blockchain. Is that?
Well, yes. When you deploy it to the blockchain, if you look in the top function. This function, that's the one. You can see that the payee is set as the person who sends this, who deploys this contract. That's a constructor function.
Yep.
So whoever deploys it, they're the payee for that contract, and then you can see that the payee is stored in the contract. So at the top, address public payee.
Yeah, right.
It's a variable.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So in fact, so for those people who want to like for Decipher, if they wanted to use it, it would be simply a question of grabbing this, and they would deploy it. It would then become sort of like a unique, this is the contract associated with this payee, and that's there in the blockchain. And so anytime that someone made a purchase through this, that contract would be executed, some money would go to the donee, and great stuff. That was very helpful. Thank you. Well,
okay.
Cool. So then, can I reciprocate and maybe help you see how to get your test stuff on a branch? If you wanted to share your screen and go to a we don't have to do this now. If you need to get on with the stuff, but the offer is open. I'll be happy to show you how to do a bit of branching.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. That would be good.
So, guys, I got to step out to another call, but real interesting stuff. I'll catch you guys later.
Nice one.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye for now.
Bye.
Yes. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe I could share my screen with you somehow.
Yeah, please do. On the Hangout, if you mouse over the Hangout, there should be, it should pop up on the left-hand side. There's like a left nav bar that pops up.
Yeah.
And second button down is a green screen share button, which will then pop up another window and allow you to select which thing you share. I usually just share the whole desktop myself.
Okay. Okay, so here are the tests. And the output is here at the moment. So these are the mutation tests. And then these are the real tests. And what I'm doing is I'm just restructuring it at the moment so that the right mutation is used for the right tests.
Cool. Because
I found that that needs to be done, basically.
Sure. Well, and I won't try and understand all the details of those right now. But yeah, if you go back to your terminal where you've got the tests running, if you run the command git space status in that command, we will see where we are. And so, so you've got a few changes there, and you're on the master branch. Now, what you could do here is if you type git checkout, so that's two words, checkout, and then do -b and then space test and then tests, and then hit return. What that will do is it will both create a test branch and move you to it. So now if you type git status again, it will tell you at the top that you're on origin test, I think it should say, or you'll switch to a new branch tests.
Yeah.
So what you could do now is you could do, I would do there's an interesting sort of setup there. It's saying, I guess, which directory? You PWD for me?
No, so I'm not in the bottom, the root directory.
So if you just cd back to the root directory, that's probably, and then do git status again there. I mean, what we'll want to get you set up with eventually is what a lot of people have, which is they have a thing that it adjusts your prompt so that it will always tell you which branch you're on. If you don't have that, it can get very confusing.
Yeah, I used to have that actually, but okay,
there's a relatively easy thing that we add to the bash script. But so here, I would just do git add dot here.
Yeah. Except I don't really want to involve interface to Y at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. So you could just do git add tests, and then assuming that the changes in the README and the y.sol are good. So now you could do git commit -m and add a message for, because interface is not tracked yet, so it's not going to be affected.
Yeah, actually README and y.sol aren't ready for a commit either here. But so this is just about getting the tests up, so that's fine.
Yeah. So you can see that only the tests are in the staging area. So now if you do git commit -m, and you can just say like adding tests. Yeah. And then if you say git push origin tests.
Oh, is it slash or?
It'll be a space.
Space.
Origin space tests and hit return. And so it's the two things there. It's pushing the test branch to the origin remote. So now what we will both be able to see in principle in your repo is that there is now a second branch which contains all of your tests, and I can navigate to that and I can see your tests.
Yeah. Okay.
And so then from within this place, so if you're on the tests branch. Yeah. So it says there, this branch is one commit ahead of master. So it says on the right there, pull request. So you can click the pull request, or is it that one as well? Compare and pull request, they do the same thing. Yep. Click on that. That now creates and at this stage, you could just say create pull request. What that means is that you now have the ability to merge that set of new code into master when you want to.
Yeah.
And you can keep pushing updates to your test to this branch, and the pull request will keep. So do you want to? I mean, always there's no. What's the word? It's a totally reversible step. So you can click create pull request there.
Yeah.
and you know, you always just close it. It's I mean, you can add it. It's a good idea to add a description, but we're just looking at this here. But so now, if you click on Files Change there, you can see. Well, what I really like about the pull request, particularly as the stuff gets big, is that anybody's new contribution, you can see precisely the set of changes. It's like you've run diff on, you know, the master branch versus whatever branch you're doing the pull request from.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that what that also serves as is a helpful backup. Like if your laptop was to be destroyed, then
at least the tests were on GitHub.
They're in the cloud, so it's pretty secure.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So if I leave it like this, and so I'm going to continue to develop now on a machine.
Yeah. So you can continue to develop on tests.
Yeah.
And as long as you continue working the tests, you can keep on then doing git push origin tests, and keep pushing up your latest changes, and the pull request will update to reflect whatever the latest commit is on that tests branch.
Oh, I see. Okay, you don't have to do a pull request each time.
No. And that's very.
Oh, yeah, and that's and I've seen that where you've got multiple commits on a pull request.
Yeah, exactly.
What, just out of interest, what would happen if I did git push origin? Just curiosity.
So if you did git push origin here, I think it might be confused about where you're trying to push it to. It would probably. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily do it because it might get confused. It might do the wrong thing. But the git push and git pull, they take two arguments effectively, which are one, which is what is the Git repository that you want to be pushing or pulling from to, and then what is the branch name that you want to be pushing and pulling from to.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why it's good to know what branch you're on your own computer.
Yeah, and see the danger that you can run into there is that you can like then start doing stuff and you think it's on master and you don't know where it's gone and so on. So probably in fairly short order, you'll want to make sure that you're set up with a thing that shows which branch you're on the command line, just so that you can have that clear in your head. It's definitely another step along. I know people who work with Git for quite a while. I was like this. I used to always I was like very nervous about these branches things. It's like because now what you could do here is you could do git checkout master. Git checkout master.
Yeah.
Like this, and that will switch your local branch to be master.
Yeah.
And then if you do if you do ls now, you'll see your test directory has disappeared. No.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But then if you do git checkout tests, it'll come back. And the funny thing, so some people are so nervous about this, and I was like this for the first couple of years using Git, that I would in order to have a different branch, I would clone the repo in a completely separate directory.
Yeah.
And then I'd have like multiple versions, and I'd have one of each branch. As I've now come to trust Git, I basically switch between branches as just staying in a single directory, and I use it almost in the way that mentally that I used to use CD to move between different things.
Well, it's good to know that that it gets better, because I've always just hated it. I've really just using it for the last 6 months or so. Yeah. Just because I found overhead that I didn't need. I guess now that I'm potentially collaborating with other people, it's more important. Yeah, it becomes there's a lot of features in Git that you don't necessarily need. So there's a lot of, and the thing is, of course, now as well. I mean, we've opened a bit of a Pandora's box in that there are in this situation, it's relatively simple. You can get into situations where it won't let you jump between branches because there are unsafe changes and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they're all things that can be sorted out, and I think it's pretty rare these days that I get into any Git situation that I can't resolve. But yeah, don't hesitate to reach out if you get stuck with any aspects, bits and pieces. But it is that's I think a lot of what the community is about learning to use these collaboration tools and getting unstuck in the sticky they can sometimes get you into. I'm back. Come on, I think.
Yep. All right. Well, I better get on with the meeting. Great to see you, Will, and I'll be interested to have a look at the test when I've got a bit more time.
Great. Thanks a lot for your help.
Nice one. All right. See you soon. Take care.
Bye.